It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Well, welcome back to Inside the Patch. It's Gnarley Charley. Of course, I got Brian Noe along with me today, and I brought him on early this week just because the game did not go well. I would just say the Raider game did not go well.
It did not go well, Gnarls. It looked like you had it. Looked like it was in the bag. And then all of a sudden, Kyler Murray and his mini-me self just running all over the place. When Max Crosby can't tackle Kyler Murray, that is some lower body strength right there. I'm doing a terrible job from the beginning. I forget. I'm acting like I'm in Phoenix over here. This is the Central Valley. What am I doing?
Well, before we go any further, I need to thank our sponsors, Fresno Rack and Shelving. And I was ready to shove the whole team yesterday. And of course, Porta Subs. I was ready to eat 50 sandwiches too. There are big sponsors here at 1430 ESPN. Brian Noe. Now, if I were to describe Noe, you've lived in the Valley for years. You've done radio here. You do radio on a national level. But what is are you like a sports hitman, or what do you call yourself?
Just a sports host. I like hitman better though. That sounds more mysterious. It sounds more edgy. I like that description better.
This week when I was watching the game, I was thinking, what is Brian going to tell me this week? Because I know there was so much hope in the Raiders this season, and then to see it just not happen, it makes me think of, I was buying into all that hype. We went 4-0 in the preseason. What the heck? We're on a roll.
I'll talk you off the ledge a little bit. I'll talk you off the ledge, and then I'll say, forget all of that and just jump. So I'll give you both arguments here. Argument one is I would go back to last year, because an 0-2 start, that's not ideal, obviously, but if it's a 2-game losing streak in the middle of the season, it doesn't resonate the same way, right? Because it's the brand new season. It just seems to stand out more and hit differently. But if you look at the Rams last year, the Rams won a Super Bowl. And they lost 3 of 4 games. They had a 2-game losing streak last season, and they still ended up winning everything. And I also would compare it to the NFC West last year. The NFC West last season was a gauntlet, and all of a sudden things changed. Russell Wilson gets hurt. The Seahawks always won 10-plus games with him there, but he goes down. That changed the landscape.
Right.
So if you think about the AFC West, it's loaded. And I don't like an 0-2 start, especially the way it went for the Raiders against the Cardinals. But it's a long season. You never know how the injury bug is going to go. Who knows if I hate to put out names in the atmosphere, but let's say Mahomes went down for an extended period of time. That can change everything.
Well, I guess the part that's really, I guess I'm going to sound like a 90-year-old man sticking in my craw is the part that we had the game won. The first half, we did everything we wanted to do. We're sitting there. It's 20-0. Let's eat a brat. Let's lay 40 on them just like the Chiefs did. Let's be on our way. And then it happened.
I know it. And it was gradual too. It snuck up on you.
Yeah.
Where the Cardinals, it's like, oh, that's cute. They scored a touchdown. Oh, that's nice. Whatever. Who cares? Oh, they scored another touchdown. Oh, and they got the 2-point conversion. Oh, it's a 1-possession game. It was just gradual. And all of a sudden, just when you thought the Raiders were still going to pull it out, Hunter Renfrow, sure-handed, makes a move. He's in field goal range, basically. And then, whap, Isaiah Simmons. It was crazy.
If I was a Cardinals fan, greatest game ever. Just with guts. And the Raiders were kind of known for their comebacks with Carr. And so we'd been doing that to other people, but you don't do it to us at the first game of the home season at our place. And I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't talk. I was just like,
I know. And then how about that? The other part where Byron Murphy, he threw the ball just after crossing the goal line. There was some indecision of, did he score a touchdown or not? And so it was this little glimmer of hope of like, maybe not, maybe he didn't score. And it was like the last little punch to the gut that you needed to send you to the canvas. You got it when it was ruled a touchdown.
Well, and that's the thing. I've been teasing about my heart condition with the Raiders for the last 12 games. And when you get a 20-0 lead, you're like, hey, this is nice. I don't have to have that panicky thing. And then to not finish the job. I mean,
it's rough. I feel like I was ripped off though, Gnarly. I got to tell you, because I was having issues with Sunday Ticket on my computer. I've had Sunday Ticket on my computer for a few years.
I was too.
Yeah. It froze up on me. And so I'm like, I got to call a sports bar audible over here. So I went to the sports bar, and there was a diehard Raiders fan. I'm hand on the Bible, was wearing a Ken Stabler jersey, right? And he's, all right, 5-yard gain by the Raiders. Let's go. Like, he's cheering everything. And then he had an argument with his girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure. They ended up leaving. And I didn't get to witness the epic meltdown of this diehard Raiders fan in the sports bar. And he was perfect. He was from Central Casting. He would have thrown chairs and tables, and I didn't get to witness it because they left early.
Well, maybe the Lord works in mysterious ways, because he'd be in jail, because he was. Oh, okay, for me, I was trying to break this down. If you get diagnosed with a serious disease, it sucks. It sucks, right? But when they say, hey, at least you caught it early, there's a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
And I think the Raiders were diagnosed to, you don't get this just because people say you're good. You have to win the games. And it was like a wake-up call. And I'm glad we caught it early, because it's game 2, right? Mathematically, lots of possibilities here. Lots of things.
Oh yeah, the season's young, man. I know there's a tendency to be like, oh, they're done. It's week 2. Like, I would prefer that they're at least 1-1 and you find a way to win a game that you had a stranglehold of. But again, it's week 2. So you can't just, and we got 7 teams in both conferences that make the playoffs. Look at the Bengals. If we're looking at doom and gloom with the Raiders, hey, maybe they don't win the division, but they're still eligible for a wild card spot. Right. The Bengals can't get out of their own way. They're 0-2. They look worse. The Bengals lost to a backup quarterback in Dallas. So that wasn't a sexy win either. And they were obviously a playoff team last season. So it's too early to give up on the year.
One of the things that I can't stand is after the NFL draft and they have those mandatory mini camp things that aren't mandatory, volunteer mini camps. From that point on, the sports guys, everybody's just guessing on the season, just guessing. Oh, I'm going to run down my whole list of every game and blah, blah. And it ad nauseum. And I'm like, and they're picking the Raiders. Oh, we might be undefeated this year, blah, 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 all that stuff. And as it coming in for the first time in a while, Raiders are getting some good reviews. It's like, oh, this is kind of nice. I was walking around with good feelings, but it all came to a head. 0-2. Like, I was okay with the Charger game because we fought that game. There was a chance, but to just, I don't know, throw the baby in the bathwater at the same time, just to do it to yourself, to just 20 unanswered points. I mean, I'm on the cliff, man. I'm trying to.
I know, man. It sounds like I thought you were going to be the voice of positivity and optimism today. This is negative gnarls. Well, this is negative gnarls today, but I will say this. It's also realistic gnarls. I'll play devil's advocate. I'll talk you off the ledge a little bit, because think about this. On one side, you're in the game against the Chargers. You're right there. 3 interceptions by Derek Carr. Okay, it doesn't work out. It's game 1. Then you have this huge lead. You lead by 20 points against the Cardinals. You don't close the deal. But I would rather have it go the way it did for the Raiders than just get absolutely dominated. Think of the Titans. Titans lost a heartbreaker in week 1 against the Giants, where Saquon Barkley scored that 2-point conversion. This last game, they get wrecked by the Bills. So I would rather be the Raiders and lose a couple of close games, couple of heartbreakers, than get wrecked in one of those games. So they're right there in it. You just got to find a way to close the deal.
That's the thing is we're going to Tennessee and they're coming off that. So their motivation, that's another, I'm going, great. They are hungry. We're hungry. And it is not do or die, but it feels like it.
It really does. And think about the next 3 games for the Raiders. So you mentioned you're at the Titans, then you have the Broncos at home, and then at the Chiefs. So after this Titans game, you got 2 division games that are tough. So this is a gots to win moment for the Raiders. You've got to win this. You can't fall to 0-3. In that division, like the Titans could fall to 0-3 in the sad AFC South and still make something of their season. You can't fall to 0-3 and be a team in the AFC West.
Nope. And now we're going to have to get Denver twice. So we're going to have to make up for this loss by sweeping somebody. And I mean, if we want to win the AFC West.
Now I got to ask you something, Gnarls, because I have no problem with you saying we. You're a diehard Raiders fan. Can you knight me? Can I honorarily say we while we're just chopping it up here?
I don't have full rights to the knighthood, but I can use like a dagger and maybe give you you're like an ambassador. Okay?
Yeah. You can't knight me. You can maybe give me like a high five and say, okay, going into week 3, you're allowed.
Wait, put your finger towards the middle of the screen like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There. Okay. Come on over. Other side, Brian. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
There. I think it did.
There. Boom. All right. Here, let me try it out. You tell me. You rate me on the 1 to 10 scale how authentic this sounds. We can't fall to 0-3, Gnarls. All right. The AFC West is loaded. Everybody knows this. The Chiefs are undefeated right now. Chargers are tough. Denver finally won a game. We can't fall to 0-3. It's not going to work, man. It's go time for the silver and freaking black.
I believe the we. You sold me on the we. That we was solid. Solid we.
Good. Good. I'm glad. I don't want to use the we and not come across authentically. That would be terrible.
I'm going to ask you this. Let's go dark web here a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
I was trying to find some happiness about this. And I found this guy. He's a sports host. And I believe his name is Big Cat. I don't even know what he hosts. I just know he's kind of dark. And he picks a team every year, and he calls it his pinky team. Now, what that means is if the team he picks wins the Super Bowl, he says he will cut off the tip of his pinky.
Okay.
He picked the Raiders as his pinky team.
Wow.
That incensed me. And
yeah.
Angry. But now all I want is to see his pinky chopped off, which is wrong and dark. But I'm like, if you're going to make this outlandish claim, I'm going to pull every bit of Raider juju I can find and throw it pinky, and I hope it gets severed.
I totally hear you. And that's hilarious, by the way, and totally infuriating.
Yes.
If you're a fan of that team that he picks and says, I think I'm okay. I'm not going to lose part of my digit because this squad's not winning at all. Yeah. Which, if you were Big Cat and you had to do this, you had to pay up, which portion of which finger would you choose?
Well, no, it's pinky. It's pinky for sure.
It's just pinky. Okay. Would you go right or left? Would you go right or left pinky?
And then, and how deep is it? Is there a point differential? Is there by a landslide, a blowout game?
It sounds like we don't have a fingernail anymore. It's at least fingernail depth right there.
And I mean, look at Ronnie Lott. He just back it off. He don't care. But that's to get back on the field. This guy,
you go right or left. You're like, all right, one's got to go. Which one is it?
Let the audience decide. We gotta do a poll. Can you imagine? I mean, that's outlandish. And can you imagine? He thinks he's safe. He thinks he's safe, and then all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl. Now he's like, oh my God, what do I do?
And I'll give him credit because he picked a team. He didn't pick, Jacksonville or the Lions or the Texans or something like that. He went with the Raiders, who were a playoff team last year, who won 10 games. Yeah, they're in a loaded division, but that wasn't just taking a complete bottom feeder. That was taking a playoff team from last year. That's a respectable selection for the pinky bet.
And what I don't know if he made this after this second game or if he did it before the season. If he did it before the season, I do. I respect him for that. But if it was after the Cardinal game, he's just bandwagon jumping on us, just like, I don't know.
I got to tell you a brief story because it made me think of it. It reminds me of a buddy of mine in Fresno, Chris Nieto, who did TV in that area. And Chris, he said this one time at a Fresno State press conference, because we'd always talk before the press conference. And he goes, look, man, this is the dumbest thing ever. I know it's the dumbest thing ever. But myself and a group of my friends, we do this every year. We go to one of those vending machines that has like the NFL stickers or whatever. And it's kind of like a little bubble. Yeah. And he's like, we go to a machine every year, and whatever it spits out, me and a group of my friends, that's the team we gamble on to win the Super Bowl that season. Wow. And I'm like, I love that. That's awesome right there. So every year I'm like, Chris, who we got this year? And he's like, gosh, we got the Texans this year, that type of thing.
Well, the Rams, I think they were like, I want to say 300 or 400 to 1 the first time the best game on turf won. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah, it was, because the season before, I have to look it up, I think they were 4-12.
Yeah.
And then when Trent Green went down and Kurt Warner comes in, yeah, there was something like 300 to 1, and they ended up winning it all.
So, I mean, it does happen. I think we might have to reenact that. I think we might have to go do this. So because he prefaced it as like, this is the dumbest thing ever, man. I almost feel ashamed. He told me, and I'm like, that's awesome. I went in on this, right? Like, can I get in on this action? All right, here's the pack. First one of us to see one of these machines. We're doing it. Just FaceTime each other. We do it, and that's our team next year. No matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do love it too. And I think, I'm not positive, I'll have to check with Chris, but I think they did win it all one of the years. I think so.
I mean, it could be. You could, right horse,
Yeah.
The guy we have that does our fantasy football on the show here, he won the Kentucky Derby this year. He had it. He won like $9,000. But
was it that crazy long shot?
Yeah, he had. He had it for whatever reason. But
that is the stuff of gambling dreams right there.
Also the stuff that'll ruin you. You see that guy that puts $100 bill on a one pull slot machine and hits 2 cherries, which is $11,000. And they're hooked for life. They will spend the rest of their life trying to get back there.
I do think, and I'll have to check this out, but off the top of my head, I think this is true. I don't remember which race it was. It might have been the Kentucky Derby the year before. Whatever race it was, one of the horses was DQ'd because of PEDs. They were cheating. And so you would think, sort of like the Olympics, if the gold medal winner of the 100 meters was caught doping, well, then the gold medal goes to the second place finisher. It doesn't work like that in horse racing. They were like, first horse disqualified. The horse that finished second, you don't win either. So no one wins cash is basically the way it went down.
What happens sometimes, though, they don't find out the results for weeks. Well, that day people are getting cash is moving around. It'd almost be like playing poker, and in the middle of a hand, wait, everybody take their bets back. You don't remember who did what. Yeah.
Don't you think if the horse that won is disqualified, shouldn't the second place horse be the winner? And if you bet on the second place horse to win, you should win. I think that's the way it should be.
I feel the logic there, but it's not the way it is.
They're like, nope, you don't win either.
Sorry. And thanks for doing business with us.
I think I look at it, Gnarls, from the perspective of the gambler.
Right.
I have not, to your point, looked at it from the standpoint of the people taking in the bets, because I might have the same view they have if that were the case.
Well, I guess my point is you have offered us some hope for the Raiders. I feel like there is some hope. It is only the second game.
Yeah. I mean, the season's too young for us.
Right.
We have to band together. We have to believe in the silver and black. We cannot throw in the towel just because they lost 2 games in a row over here, Gnarls.
I love your weeness. I'm so glad that you beat up and that you're part of this, at least for this segment. And that's all I care about.
It feels great. And I'll tell you what, man, if I grew up a Raider fan, I would wear nothing but silver and black. Nothing. They are the coolest colors. I don't know what you're doing over there wearing that shirt, Gnarls, as a Raider fan. I mean, respect to the Bulldogs and everything. You can have a silver and black Bulldogs soft collar shirt on right now.
It's also laundry day at the Gnarls president. I can't believe I got called out on it. I was like, no one's going to know. I thought to myself, I know one's going to care. We're talking about Fresno State all the time. And then I get called out on it. Yeah, perfect.
That's what I'm here for.
So we're leaving this for this. The season's young, right?
Yep.
And if we don't win in Tennessee, we have to. We just have
Think
to.
of it like this, Gnarls. The season, it's like it's not quite a baby yet. I would say the season is like a 3-year-old. You know, think about how long, how much time is in front of that 3-year-old, where you're talking about their adolescent years, the teenage years, they're driving now. Now they're 21, they're of age. There's so long for that to go. I think the season is basically a 3-year-old right now. Very, very young. Between
2 and 4 is probably the most I've ever felt in my life. So, and I've done a lot. But I think you're onto something. I'm going to go with the toddler season.
Yes. We're at the toddler stage right now. You know, we're not even a teenager yet.
Oh, I love it. I feel so much better. Brian, no, thank you so much. Don't forget, if you want to donate $10 to Valley Children's Hospital, text the word gnarly, GNARLEY, to 51555. Thank you, Fresno Rack and Shelving. Also, thank you, Porta Subs. We'll be back with more Inside the Patch right here, 1430 ESPN.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.